I am Sophia Feist, Mrs. Feist, and I teach ninth grade and creative writing, and these questions are coming from my ninth grade 7th Bell class. So I have not looked at these yet, so let's see how they go. Are you a lax bro? No, I'm not. Let's see. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go and why? Always a fun question. In recent years, I've been really focused on actually going to places in the United States because I feel like a lot of my early travels, very luckily I was able to go to Mexico because I have my whole dad's side of the family lives in Mexico, and I've been to Spain and Portugal and some other places in Europe. And so the last couple summers I've made it a point to, for example, last summer I drove along the 101 in California and like up into Oregon and Washington. I'm going to try to go to Yellowstone soon. So just, yeah, right now I'm kind of focused on the US, but I'd love to go to Italy. Never been. I love pasta. And the culture there seems really cool. Cinque Terre I've always wanted to go to. So the list is very long. Every continent. Oh, and I did get to go to Australia, and I'd love to go back again. So that would definitely be on my list. Have you ever written a song about a tortilla, but it was really a rap? I definitely know what student wrote that because he loves puns, and no, I have never done that. Let's see. A lot of these are very goofy. Best high school memory? Actually, I feel like I'm lucky enough to have had a lot of good memories in high school. I played basketball, and so we got the chance one year to go to the Final Four, and that was really cool. Got to go to Columbus, stay overnight, and the environment was awesome. I was only a freshman or a sophomore, so I didn't really get to play much, but I got to kind of be along for the ride, so that was a great memory for sure. I got to go to, I had mentioned I had been to Spain. That was one of the times I went, was with my high school. It was like a small group, perfect group for traveling, so that was definitely a highlight, going with my Spanish club. Among other things, I was lucky enough to have some really positive experiences by being involved, I think. So let's see what else. Favorite Disney movie? Well, I think I'm kind of partial to some of the ones I saw, when I was of the age that people get really into Disney movies. My list is probably a little different. I loved Aladdin. That was one of my faves. Actually, there were 2 years in a row that I dressed up as Jasmine, and my little brother awkwardly dressed up as, I was Jasmine and he was Aladdin with the little cap on. It was very cute, but also kind of strange to look back at those pictures because he's 4 years younger than me. So I loved that. I also loved some of the ones that I don't feel like people talk about as much today. I loved Cinderella. I loved Sword in the Stone. That one always made me laugh a lot. Fox and the Hound. So ones that are, I feel like, not as watched or discussed as much. I just saw Lion King on Broadway though, and that brought back some really cool memories. So yeah, all about some of the Disney movies. Where was I born? I was born in Cincinnati, though I lived the first, not even a year, but first maybe like 6 months, 7 months of my life in Mexico. It's where I got baptized, and in Guadalajara specifically, where my dad's from. So I lived there very briefly, but I grew up here in Cincinnati. I went to Madeira since I was in kindergarten, so I grew up there, graduated from there. My parents still live there, which is cool. And actually, that's where I met my now husband. His family still lives there, so definitely local for sure. Cincinnati born and raised. Let's see. Have you ever made any decisions in your life that you would regret, or would change? Something that I really wish, and this, maybe some of you can associate with this, but I always wish that I had spent more time when I was younger visiting my relatives in Mexico and like really immersing myself when I could. And that opportunity, of course, I can still do that, but I think there's something to be said about trying to learn language and culture as early as possible. And I think now I'm at a little bit of a deficit. My Spanish is like very okay, but I would love to, and I feel like I should be more fluent than I am. And I think a lot of that comes from just putting yourself out there and that kind of, opening yourself up to making some mistakes and learning the language, which is actually what my mom had to do, who's not Mexican, and she did it that way when she was in college. So I feel like I wish that I had done that sooner. But I suppose it's not too late, so maybe something for you to think about. Have you ever dunked on someone when you played in high school? No, Ben, I haven't. What is your most memorable moment with your brothers? Well, I'm older than them, and so that meant that they were at my mercy when it came to playing and things like that. I love the book series because you know how, or maybe you don't if you're watching this, but I was always a nerdy individual, loved reading. And so I love the series Little House on the Prairie, and so oftentimes I would be Laura Ingalls Wilder, who's the main person who wrote those books, and then I'd make my little brothers be like farmhands or like usually something that involved manual labor that I could boss them around. So I was obviously a very caring older sister, but really just with them, I'm lucky enough, my brother Simone is like 3 years younger than me, and then my other brother Carson is still in college. He's like 8 or 9 years younger than me. So I don't know if it's that little bit of distance, but we always kind of got along. So I think they make me laugh more than just about anyone. So it's really just hanging out with them in general growing up is my best memory. And I still do hang out with them. A lot of basketball questions. Did you lead the conference in rebounds? I did. I was player of the year my senior year in the Cincinnati Hills League. I averaged a double-double, so you can look that up. If you weren't a teacher, what other job would you want? That is a very cool question. Well, I mean, my heart is definitely in service, and I love reading, writing. So if I had my real pie in the sky kind of dream, would certainly be to be an author, to write for a living. I love writing poetry. Though that is, of course, a hard career. The publishing world I find really interesting too, helping other people get their writing published. I'm also really passionate about living in Cincinnati, which maybe sounds strange, but I live downtown, I live in a historic district, and I always find that really interesting. And so I don't know, working for the city could be really cool too, but I feel like my job has a little bit of everything. It's community and literacy and working with people, so I'm lucky enough to have a job that kind of encapsulates all my interests, so I can't complain there. What is the spiciest thing you've ever eaten? I would say one time I had, what I didn't know at the time was a ghost pepper, which is, I don't even know how to describe this type of heat. It was insane. It was something that my dad had purchased, but not really to eat. It was just like, hey, I found this, but I ate it with one of my tacos one time when I was at their house. It was just one small bite, and I was deliriously, it's actually, we use that phrase at your enchilada when it's so spicy you can't think of anything else. And so that was probably my spiciest moment. It's a funny question. But I always grew up kind of challenging myself to eat spicy food. Like, I bet I can eat 3 jalapeno peppers with this. So that's saying a lot because I love spicy food. You seem very relaxed and calm all the time. How do you cope with stress? Well, I'm glad I'm fooling you guys because I certainly have a lot of stressors, just like anyone else. I think sometimes I really try to keep perspective. That's always my mantra: is keep perspective. And I think even when there's a lot of things on my plate, and certainly we've all experienced times when things don't seem to be going well, but just remembering all the good that I have in my life and that I have the privilege of being here every day. I'm lucky enough to be married to someone I've known for a long time and is my best friend. I also got a puppy this year that has helped a ton, little Theo. If you want to have a 1-hour conversation about my puppy, just ask me about it. So that's been really great. Just going on walks, reading. And also, like I said, I'm surrounded every day here by really good people, and that helps a lot. And I think in the end, I have to just remember there's 24 hours in a day, and there's only so much I can do. And so there's some times when I have to decide, okay, it's time to go to bed now, and tomorrow's a new day. So keeping perspective. Most embarrassing memory. Well, that's always a fun question. People love to talk about things that are mortifying to them. I mean, I have many because I'm klutzy and I say sometimes things that are stupid and just like anyone else, but we've talked about basketball for whatever reason a lot this session. So one of my memories was when I was an only freshman on varsity when I was playing basketball, which was supposed to be a big deal, but it made me so nervous because everyone was kind of intimidating. There was only one girl on the team that kind of acknowledged my presence. Everyone else, I was just that annoying or lowly freshman, I suppose. And so I played the JV game like up to the up to the very end because it was a close game. We were playing at home against, I think, Wyoming, and that was a big game, big rival for Madeira. And so I played up to the buzzer, and by then the varsity team's already lined up with all their warm-ups, ready to like run onto the court as soon as we were done. And so I had like 45 seconds maybe to get, I had my uniform, so I had to put my warm-up pants back on, my warm-up shirt back on. And so I met them in the locker room. They're already like huddled, ready to go. And so I was in the back of the line because I was lowly freshman. And I was trying to put my pants over my shorts, but put my pants on as we were already starting to move. I had one leg on, and the other leg I stepped still like on the actual pants. And so then as soon as we were running out, like the pep band's there, which is unusual for a girls' game, we got all excited, and I'm the last one, and I fall because of my pants, and I fall and just bite it. I mean, not like a small fall, like a fall. And I burn a hole, like literally burn, when you get like a floor burn. I singed a hole into my warm-up pants. And then first, so everyone like gasped, like, and then I had to pretend like nothing happened, and my face, I'm sure, was every shade of red possible. And then what was kind of I don't know if this was a punishment or what, but then I had to wear those warm-up pants all my career at Madeira. So I never got to get a new pair. I've always had to wear that, like my coach made me wear them. So every time I put on those warm-ups, I remembered my awkward freshman self. And now I'm just an awkward adult. So that's a memory I keep with me. I haven't answered all of these, but I feel like I've done them. I don't know. Is that good? Okay. So yeah, thank you. This was fun. Thank you, Sycamore Leaf.